Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today in this video we're going to go over the 5 games to get your girl into gaming. And here I have my wife with me, Erica.
Hi.
And because you know what, maybe I'm not the most professional at knowing exactly what a girl thinks, but Erica is. And so we're going to give you this list of 5 games. We're going to break down why these games are good for girls who are getting into gaming. And we're actually going on a level of interest list. The number 5 on the list is going to be maybe your girl's not as interested, but she does want to get into it. And down to number 1, where it's going to be like, no, she's really into getting into gaming. And if you stick around to the end, we actually will have a bonus game for if your girl is just hardcore. So, so we're going to get into the introduction, and then we'll get into these 5 games. Alright, so we're going to start with number 5, and this is, like I said, of level of interest. So maybe your girl's not super interested, but she wants to give it a try. And number 5 is...
Animal Crossing.
Yes, and we know not everyone has Nintendo, so this is almost a double here. So it's Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley, because we both know Stardew Valley's on every system. And Erica has played both these games. I have not played either of them. So... I don't know, why would you say that this is a good intro game?
Well, I feel like if a girl wants to get into gaming, these games are non-competitive, they're really chill, you can go at your own pace, and they're just not overwhelming. They're just really fun, they're cutesy, adorable.
That is true. I've seen, from watching you and seeing TikTok recently, obviously everybody loves Animal Crossing, and all the villagers are the cutest things in the world.
Oh yeah, they are adorable.
And I guess that's another thing. So yeah, they're inviting to girls. Not ragging on you boys out there that play it, but it is, Nintendo's really good at making cute things.
Mm-hmm. And for Stardew Valley, there's a lot of crafting. It's like a farming simulator, but it's way more in depth than those games that are on like apps. And you can really sink a lot of hours into. And I do think like women in general, well, I should say not all women, but there are quite a few women that really get excited to get things done, even when they're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's like fulfilling tasks.
Yeah. So, like, you could be building stuff, you can be building your farm, and you can be making things look more beautiful, and you're just sitting on the couch doing basically nothing.
Yeah,
but you feel like you're doing stuff.
Yeah, I feel like both these games are like, they're managing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what you said, it's like a farm. They're like farming simulators, both of them.
And what's also cool about Animal Crossing is that there's a lot of creativity that you can add to it. Like, you make your house exactly how you want it. You can make your whole island exactly how you want it. And they actually encourage it in the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then that's another point we wanted to make too, because like the personalities there, you can definitely make anything go towards like what personality you have in those games. But like, this compared to some of the more in-depth games, there's not a lot of competition, or if any, in these 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Except who can make the cutest house?
All right,
no, just kidding.
All right, just kidding. That's the most competitive I think you can ever be.
Battle to the death.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, would you say that this is good for people who are just getting into it because they're not intense, or? Oh,
yeah, and you don't have to know the controls. Like, there's nothing that's really quick in reactions. And I think that's a really good point in general for women that are trying to get into gaming, because they might not know the remote or the controller.
Yeah, and that can... I don't know, that can be overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, when you're panic state and you don't know where the triangle button is, if you play PlayStation, or the Y, if you're playing Xbox, or even like if you don't even know the keyboard.
Yeah, it's just like, it gives you time. There's no like rush for anything.
Except when you get attacked by bees. That is a rush.
Yeah.
But there's no lasting consequences.
Well, hopefully by that time, you'll have at least understood how to move around.
How to press A.
Yeah. All right, so... we're going to move on to number 4. We're going to go into a game or a series of games that are also very inviting, but in a different way, and that's Pokemon games. And from what Erica was saying earlier, the more recent ones probably.
Yeah. Well, they're more accessible, and especially with Pokemon Let's Go with Eevee and Pikachu, is that they really start you at the very beginning of Pokemon, where you're starting with things you might actually recognize, like Pikachu, Eevee, Jigglypuff, and you already have maybe an endearment to them, and you can learn the basics of how to do a strategy game.
Yeah, and like, let's be honest, everybody knows who Pikachu is, you know? And we were talking about this earlier. It's like, it's where kind of all of us started. You know, if you ever played a Nintendo game in the past, if you had a Game Boy, even as a little kid, you could play Pokemon. So, you know, if your girl can't play Pokemon as an adult, maybe something's wrong.
Maybe you don't have a girl there. You have a zucchini.
But what other things do you think Pokemon offers that maybe some other games don't?
Well, also, it's the same thing as Animal Crossing, is it's really cute. And you're collecting little animals. And it doesn't make you feel like you're actually fighting with them, even though you are. And every time you go around the corner, there's a new little cute thing that you can embrace and love. And the newest entry, Sword and Shield, you actually can like interact with them. And you can feed them, you can play with them, and they fight better the closer of a relationship you have with them.
Yeah, it's almost like having pets.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And you can pick what kind of pet you have and like all their special abilities. You can get really close to them. I know I had a Dusk Noir that I was really close to. And I never thought I liked that Pokemon, but it was so cute as a baby that it just like floated around. It had one little eyeball, and it was his little skull, and he just like had so much personality. And I'd love it.
Yeah, from what I saw, like some of the times I saw when you were playing it, was like you have to like play with them, and you have to give them attention and feed them. And I think Nintendo did that on purpose, obviously. It's like, look, you're going to be more into Pokemon than you've ever been into Pokemon before because you have to take care of them. All right, so we're going to move on to number 3. The 5 and 4 were for people who are just getting into it. They're, you know, I would say
it's a good place to start.
Good place to start. Now we're going to get into some games here, and they will progressively get harder. But then again, if your girl's really into it, she'll be able to handle these piece of cake.
And they're good stepping stones.
Yeah.
You can start with Animal Crossing, go to Pokemon, and then go to these next ones.
Yeah. So number 3, we'll have Erica.
It is Skyrim. So this is where I got started really getting into video games. It was my first game that I got truly addicted to, and that I sunk hundreds of hours
hundreds
into.
Because for a good year we were like into Skyrim.
Yeah, and it was on our Xbox 360.
Yeah,
we had to share it, which was like the worst thing ever. While we were in college, and it truly has become, I think, my favorite game of all time.
Yeah, well, so, and we have a funny story about why we even came across Skyrim, because before this I had never really played a true like RPG game. And, you know, I know Skyrim's a pretty simple RPG. It's very easy to figure out what to do. But I had always just been playing Battlefield or Call of Duty. And I think we were watching a Jenna Marbles video one time in the past.
Yeah.
In college, yeah. And she was just saying how addicted she was to Elder Scrolls. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Like, Erica's birthday's coming up, so I'm just going to surprise her with this, like, Elder Scrolls game that Jenna is talking about. So I went and I picked it up, and I know the dudes there were like, oh, if you're going to play Skyrim, you should definitely get the definitive edition with all the DLCs. And I'm like, this is, like, I'm buying this as a gag gift, really. And they're like, well, okay. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, you know, whatever. And then we popped it in.
Little did we know that it was no longer a gag gift.
Oh, man,
it was the best gift you've ever given me, except for your love.
Yeah. And so, like, when I think back to college, this is one of, like, a whole year where we were so into Skyrim that it was just is hilarious because I'd never played an open world game really. Erica had played some Zelda games in the past.
Yeah.
But for her, this was like a whole freaking new thing.
Yeah, and if you're not into Skyrim, there's also like any of those other simple RPGs, the beginner ones. I prefer like older RPGs since they do start you off a little bit more handholdy than like the newer ones do. So this also like fits with like Kingdoms of Amalur, any game similar.
Yeah. I kind of like the where there's like knights and mages and there's like wizards and magic and all that stuff and elves. I think that it's those kinds of RPGs that I think this is kind of really what we're talking about. And Erica just started playing Kingdoms of Amalur, and she's just super addicted to it as well. So it's these kinds of games. Yeah, they came out a while ago, like Erica said, but they have a charm to them.
And just remember, if you're going for a simple RPG, make sure you get one that has really good side quests. Because that's what's really going to fill out your gameplay.
Yeah.
It's not just the main quest. It's the ones that you wandered into a cave, you didn't know what you were doing, and you found this coven of vampires that were sacrificing like young virgins. Yeah. And you had to stop them, and you did. And then they had this special sword that was the strongest one you've run across.
Yeah.
And you get so excited. And then all of a sudden you have like those walls.
Yeah. Those
word walls. And then you learn a new shout.
Dragon shout. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's literally, I don't know, we could talk about this for a super long time, but like in the best summary of the game is just, if anyone could get their first time playing Skyrim back and get to do that, I would want to share that with. If you have a girlfriend that's any interest in games, dude, if she can experience Skyrim for the first time, dude, go for it. All right, so we're moving on to the harder ones, and we would say harder because they require a lot more reaction, a lot more skills with your controller. And number 2, so we're gonna go number 2, then number 1, then we're gonna have our bonus, which is just hardcore girl. So number 2 is the Tomb Raider trilogy. Yeah, it's 3 games, but the Tomb Raider trilogy that just came out is what we're referring to. So why would we pick the Tomb Raider trilogy, Erica?
Well, I think Tomb Raider, Lara Croft in general, is one of the most strongest female characters that ever has been in video games. And she's renowned to be really strong, emotionally, physically, and really something to look up to for women in general. I mean, I grew up watching that Tomb Raider movie. Was it the first one? Yeah, first one with Angelina Jolie. And it really impacted me when I was young. I think I was 12 or 13, and I knew I wanted to grow up to be her.
Yeah.
She was strong, cool, all the guys liked her, and she was she didn't care. She wanted to go and get those artifacts. She's going to save her dad. And I was endeared through that, so I wanted to try these Tomb Raider games, and I feel like it's such a good stepping stone as this list progressed, because you now are getting into shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not doing bows and arrows with Skyrim, which even then, it's not quick shooting.
Yeah, but we were talking about how there's those quick reaction events, a lot of people make fun of them, quick time events. But if your girl's not confident with a controller, she's not going to know how fast to smash the X button or
and it's going to be a lot of panic.
Yeah.
And a lot of fear, and that's not what you should play.
And she's got to be okay with seeing Tomb Raider get freaking impaled by sticks or something, because it's crazy. They added that in the game, but really, when a girl goes from Animal Crossing to Tomb Raider, there's a little more there,
There's a lot of intensity, and there's a lot of emotions
Yeah.
tied to that intensity.
Yeah.
Because you might get frustrated.
Yeah.
You do this scene over and over, and you can't figure out where those buttons are.
Yeah.
And you might panic, you might get frustrated, and just end up throwing in the towel.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a really good step for a girl who wants to get into gaming.
Yeah, and can build her confidence.
Yeah.
Before going into our number 1 pick.
Our number 1 pick. Okay. Your girl's got to know how to use a controller. She has to know how to use a controller for these. Or, let's say she plays PC. But, I really doubt your girl's playing PC straight out, straight out of the gate. I'm sure she's playing console first. Unless you guys are freaking balling with the PCs, if you have your own PCs. So, number 1 is Battlefield and or Modern Warfare right now. Now, when I say Battlefield, I don't mean Battlefield 5. We had our experience with Battlefield 1. If you've been following me at all for any amount of time, I'm going to bring up Battlefield 1 in every single video possible. But that's because I love Battlefield. Now, what I did not expect is for Erica to love Battlefield as well. So what was your experience with Battlefield?
Well, I had played Black Ops 2, and I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. We always played against bots.
Yeah.
And it was not too bad, but it just lacked a lot of extra things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we started playing Battlefield 1, I felt like things really started changing for me and FPSs, because not only could I shoot people, which I wasn't good at in general in the beginning.
Hence, you have to be good at the controller.
Yeah. But they gave you so many more options on how to earn points and help your team, because it's truly a team-based game.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to sit there and camp somewhere and shoot people or run into battle with, your assault rifle and be the one that shoots the most people to get the most points.
Yeah.
And so the majority of things that I did when I was playing was just revive Alex. I had my syringe, I had my medic bag or medic box, and I would just follow him around. I'd shoot. Every time he'd die, I'd kind of wait for my time, dart in there, revive him, dart out, and then I'd just end up reviving as many people on the team as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I'd shoot to defend myself. But that was the majority of what I did.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was really helping. It wasn't a destructive experience. It was a helpful experience.
Yeah.
And it does feel like you're in war.
Yeah.
So it is intense, but
there's lots of ways to contribute.
Exactly.
And that's how sick is it? I'd go on these awesome kill sprees where I'm killing 15 people without dying. And then I die, and Erica comes and revives me, and then gives me a health med kit, and then I run off, and I could just keep going and going and going. It was awesome. It was so much fun to play.
Oh yeah, and
together.
It took a lot of communication, because we both have our own Xboxes, and I remember you'd be like, "Oh, I died over here," and I'd be like, "Okay, I'm coming." And I'd be running as fast as I could, and I'd be like, "Okay, I'm coming for you. Just give me a second. I gotta wait for this person to pass."
Yeah.
And I'd dart out there, and I'd shoot you with my syringe, and I'd dart back inside.
Yeah. So that's Battlefield, and honestly, a lot of it transfers over to Modern Warfare right now. Erica has some gold guns.
Yeah.
She's put the time in, she's grinded on some of these weapons, and so that love we had for Battlefield and playing that together passed over to Modern Warfare as well. So I expect number 1 to always kind of be the popular shooter of the time. I don't know, what do you think?
I think there are special shooters that everyone should start out with.
Yeah.
That only come one in every 10 years.
Yeah.
And we're lucky enough to have 2.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, because we love Modern Warfare. We really do.
I love Modern Warfare because for the same reason as Battlefield 1, there's lots of options.
Uh-huh.
If you're not good at shooting someone with a submachine gun, well, get a riot shield and go hide on, point A.
Yeah.
And defend that area.
Yeah.
And that's you building points.
Mm-hmm.
Or, run around and throw grenades.
Mm-hmm.
Or get a RPG.
Yeah.
Or not RPG.
No,
That shows how much I really know.
No, but that's the thing.
I really don't use that very often.
Yeah.
And there's just so much variety of play that if you're not good at just shooting at someone, the fastest shooter,
Yeah.
you can still play and you can still compete. And you might not be the best one still, but you can work your way up.
Yeah.
And you don't feel like you're failing.
Now here's the thing, girls. If there's any girls listening to this, the clout you will get with boys for playing these shooter games is gonna be it's gonna be through the roof. If you want to impress boys, you gotta play some of these Battlefield or Call of Duty.
And you don't even have to be good.
You don't even have to be good. But honestly, if you start playing it, you'll end up getting pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And also with Modern Warfare, I really enjoy Warzone.
Yeah.
And that was the first, what is it called? Battle Royale game that I actually liked.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's super intense. Mm-hmm. And I really don't like intense experiences normally. But the amount of teamwork and the extra things you can do is so fun.
Yeah,
like filling contracts.
Yeah, you can hold your own too. Like,
oh no.
No, like, yeah, we'll go into like a house and there's 2 people there and there's us 2, and I'll take one out and you'll take the other one out. Like, I don't worry.
No.
Because I know you hold your own. All right, guys, we're gonna get to our bonus one because that was number 1. If your girl is hardcore, okay, she's gonna want to play, and you're gonna want her to play Dark Souls. Any of the Dark Souls. I recommend Dark Souls 3. I've said that in past videos. But Dark Souls it has a reputation for a reason. It is hard. It can make your girl cry. It can make a man cry.
It made me cry.
It made Erica cry.
I was doing good, and then someone invaded.
Yeah.
And both me and Alex were fighting this guy, and Alex didn't have his good weapon out.
No.
And I didn't know what I was doing, so I was screaming. And I'm like, this guy is so mean.
Yeah,
and he was like using his weapon and just like barely tapping me. And I was trying to run away.
Yeah, no. Obviously, it was somebody who was like way better than both of us. And I was just trying to show her how cool the game looks, how it plays, and that it's, once you get a hang of it, it's not too scary. But then we get invaded. So, I could not protect her. And this dude just creamed us. And so, like I said, if your girl's hardcore, you can play it together. That's what's cool. Mm-hmm. If you have 2 Xboxes or this or that, you can play Dark Souls together and get through it together. If you can get through Dark Souls together, maybe you should marry that girl. That will simulate all the hardship. All right, so that's our list, and we wanted to bring this to you guys because, again, we're just a couple who likes to game, and we know there's others out there, and we know there's potential couples. We there's girls out there that play games. There's guys. Eventually, y'all are gonna meet each other.
Mm-hmm. And if we can create some couples, that's even better.
Exactly.
By getting the girl into gaming, or maybe this list is for a girl that wants to get a guy into gaming.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. That
may work. That honestly may work. If you go from 5 down to 1, I think that could work because the rules still apply. The ones from 5 through 4, 5 and 4, they are games that are inviting. Mm-hmm. That was the main point why we picked them. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back in another video. We would like to really, if you like this kind of content and you like the topics we have to talk about.
And you like me being here.
Yeah, and if you like Erica being here, because I usually make these videos by myself, but I realized when I can just talk to Erica, it's way easier for me to say what I want to say. And, I don't come off scripted like some of my videos where I do have to script it sometimes. So I really appreciate having that you're
But
willing.
if you don't want me here and you want script, that's okay too.
Yeah, it's fine.
You're just a monster. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just like, that's your fault. So hit that subscribe button if you want more from us. Let us know in the comments, and we could talk about video games forever because we have played so many video games. So we will see you guys in the next time. We will see you guys in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.